Millennium, the Seventh Day by Bonck. Chapter 15, The Great White Throne. The great rush of wind that was heard leaving the camp of the saints and going up into the portal in the sky was the spiritual removal of God's people. David, Bet Ariel, finds himself among a multitude of people, arrayed inside a large room. They are in position to observe the proceedings. The room itself is the judgment hall of God. It is also called the Great White Throne Judgment. God the Father, the Ancient of Days, is sitting at the center on a throne, and the elect one, Jesus Christ, is on a throne to his right. The observers are saints, and they are coming and going from the hall. There's no cheering or shouting of excitement by the observers. They all understand the gravity of the situation. They've been told that the first defendant to be tried will be the angel, Hillel. He and his angel rebellion will be cast into the lake of fire. The trial is very technical and precise. Every jot, tittle, and witness is covered thoroughly. Next, the 200 Ben Elohim watchers, which mated with Anashi women, then, after them, the spirits of the Nephilim, which existed before the flood. The demons followed by the Rephaim giants of the post-flood times. And finally, the spirits of the Anashi, mankind, who had died without a relationship with Jesus. They did not apply the blood of the sacrifice of Jesus Christ from the cross to their sin. These people died in their sins. The last group of these people are the rebels, which had just died in the fire from heaven at the end of the millennium. All the guilty angels, spirits, and people are going to be cast into the lake that burns with fire. The devout believers in Christ who lived by faith and gave their lives to him, those who had accepted his atonement for their sins, are not judged at the great white throne. They are saved from it and have been judged at the judgment seat of Christ, not for sin, but for rewards. For their obedience and faithfulness, their sins had been washed away. The angels which had joined with Hillel in his rebellion about 11,000 years ago are lining up on the left side of the throne and are waiting to go before God. Those angels had failed to present themselves before God back at the beginning and had since been used by Hillel to attack and destroy mankind over 6,000-year time period. Their crimes are numerous. These angels have just had their trials in open chambers, proceeding off to the left of God's throne. A combination of saints and angels are conducting the trials, reviewing all the evidence and hearing the testimony concerning the charges. Then a judgment is announced and the defendant is moved to a line for sentencing by the Ancient of Days on the throne. Many of the angels just waive their rights to a full trial when they hear the charges and see the people that they had violated when they were working with Hillel. They simply admit their guilt and walk on. The judgment at the great white throne is going to take a long time. There are billions to be tried. Time in heaven is different than on earth. It's not sequenced by the sun. There are no days as on earth. All those angels, spirits, or persons found guilty at the judgment will be led off to the lake that burns with fire. There are no people or animals on earth. All the spirits have come to heaven for judgment and relocation to their eternal abodes. The earth's surface is burned and melted. The mountains have fallen down, and there are no more oceans, lakes, or seas. The sky is gone. The first heaven has passed away. There's no air to breathe. No blue sky anymore. It's going to be a long time before the earth recovers. David walks out of the judgment hall and sees some trees in a field of grass off to his right. He thinks to himself, I don't recognize those trees. I wonder what they are. As he walks that way, he suddenly realizes that he's there, standing next to the tree. Whoa, he exclaims. How did that happen? Just as he says that, he hears a voice behind him. It is Thomas Taylor. Thomas says, I'm sorry, David. I was assigned to give you the first day orientation, and I didn't see you leave the hall. I see you have found how easy it is to travel here in heaven. Then Thomas laughed and said, Come with me. I have something you need to see. Thomas turns and beckons to David to follow him, and just like David's trip over to the tree, he and Thomas are instantly standing on a high hill overlooking a large valley, right there in heaven. David exclaims, What is that? It's massive. Thomas replies, I knew you'd like it. This is the New Jerusalem. It is nearly complete, and now the family of God is complete. And we're all here in heaven. No one missing. We can now complete the whole thing, a home, David, for us all. Thomas continues, David, when you were in Petra, you will never know how hard it was for me not to tell you what was going on here in heaven and how close you were to coming home. All of the dreams you had about the new heaven and the new earth and the new Jerusalem are all beginning and happening right now, right in front of you. The gates, the foundations, the rivers, the trees, it's all here. David goes quiet and is just staring across the valley. Thomas says, I'll be back in a few moments. Then David hears someone else say, David? David? David knows who it is. He swirls around and looks. Yes, it's his father. Gus steps forward, looks David in the eye, and tells him, Well done, son. David's eyes instantly go to tears, and he says, I'm changed, Dad. Dad, I'm changed. It's all really true. I'm changed, just the way you taught me when I was little. It's happened just like you said it would. Gus says, So, you're changed. Tell me about it. David says, Well, I can see perfectly. Like an eagle, everything is super clear, and colors here in heaven are beyond vivid. I can hear everything. The smallest sounds are clear as a bell, and I can smell all kinds of things, and it's all new. My nose is crazy sensitive. He continues, While I'm young again, I was never as strong as this, or anywhere near this agile. Also, my mind is in high gear. Everything seems so simple and clear. This is amazing. And Jesus did this for me. For me, Dad. The two hugged and wept on each other's shoulders. And then, after a few moments, Gus asked David, "Do you remember asking me when you were young about the seas being dried up on the earth? And you wanted to know what about the whales and the dolphins and the fish? Well, I know now what the Lord's going to do. Come with me. Here's what he's going to do. I'll show you. Jesus Christ, the same yesterday and today and forever. World without end."